All right, so it looks like I'm streaming. I don't see anyone yet, but that's okay. I will give it time. It gives me time. Meanwhile, I have a demo. Welcome, everyone. I'm going to fix the lights in this room a little bit because I see that it's a little weird. Hi. I'm going to start with something that I wrote this afternoon while I was having a headache. But first, let's see. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Krista, Scott, Carlos, Konstantinos, Lalo. I'm sure there's going to be others along the way, but for now, this is like incentive to keep my back up. I put the camera down on purpose so that I would have to straighten my back a little bit. But hello, Joshua, Starkorg. Oh, wow, from Buffalo, New York. Welcome. So I'm going to start with a demo. So here's what happened. I had a headache all flipping. It's still going on, by the way, but it's actually coming down a bit. But I've had it all day. I decided I would take this thing, which is my little sampler, into the bedroom and just make random noises in there. And because I just was bored, I didn't want to just do nothing. So while I was in the dark and I was writing, I wrote something. So here's a song I wrote in my bedroom using nothing more than this thing. My little recorder. And then I came over here right before the stream and I had another part. So I'm going to just lay it in. That way I have a record of it. It's past 8 o'clock, but that's fine. This means that I have a song in progress. But anyway, overhead so I can do this, okay? So I just got to get it out of the way. So sorry, got to deal with a weird song. Oh man, let's see if this works. Like, really? Oh man. All right, so I lost the internet, so I'm starting all over again. Yeah, it's been very glitchy. I think this may have, well, who knows? It may have something to do with Chinese balloons. I don't know. Anyway, because I do have an Air Force base near me. So I won't say the W word. I won't say any word. Should I say China balloon? Anyway, so I guess we've started over. Oh my gosh. All right, here we go. Sorry, you get to hear it all over again. Hopefully it doesn't freeze this time. Let's try it.
When the sun is erased from the promises we made, all the broken words, just fragments of the times. The fall of the man is fall to the ground.
There. So now I have it. I have it so that it's somewhere recorded. The idea, the part. So now we can carry on with things. Although, like I said, I've had a headache all day, so planning for this one was very difficult. Way too difficult. But I do have some notes, thank God, from last week that I didn't cover, things I didn't cover. And of course, we can take calls and stuff too, so that's going to happen. But this weird tradition of writing things right before the stream is, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it yet because I'm trying to go back to these things and work on them. And meanwhile, I've got so much going on. Like if you knew what was going on in here, oh my gosh, I think you'd like freak out. I'm freaking out and it's me. But oh, thank you, Stephen, for that. I wasn't thinking about it that way, but I guess it could be reminiscent of OMD Dazzle ships. Yeah, it's a weird thing. I was like playing around with the sampler with my headache in my room. And when I have a headache, I obviously can't look at screens. So looking at a computer screen trying to make music was impossible. I couldn't do art stuff today because my head was hurting and I couldn't even look at a screen. I really couldn't. I'm having trouble now. But so I wanted to take some piece of hardware. I have so little bits of hardware left that I wanted to take something that I didn't have to think about dials and, LED screens of any kind. And it has none. Literally, like you can't even tell when this thing's on. There's no light even for the I think even the sampling button makes a beep sound when it's sampling. Just to show you how far advanced it is. But I kind of like this. Constantino says, I know how those kinds of headaches are. I get them when I don't drink coffee for a day. Well, I actually drove myself to get the strongest Starbucks I could get. Not trying to plug it, but they can make some pretty strong ones. And even that didn't do it. So it's been a pain in my all day. But, it is what it is. So, we got a question already. Scott is asking on Facebook, when you write music, do you think of a tune first and then add words? Or do the words come to mind and then you put music to it? It depends. That's a good question. I get asked that one every so often someone asks me and I find myself contradicting myself in the answer. And I don't mean to do that, but I guess it depends. So today, as an example, I was just messing around. All I was trying to do, or what wound up happening is, I wound up doing a sampling session with this thing. I made a boatload of sounds that I'll probably use on something, but the idea was try to make up some sounds. And since I was pretty much in bed anyway, I had no idea that I was going to get to a song. So for whatever reason, that weird sample just made a song. And that made me happy. In fact, can I show you the sample? I might be able to show you the sample. It might still be here. In fact, it is. Listen to this sample. This is the sample that made this entire song, basically. No, not that one. Oops. That was part of the sampling session. No, it was not that one. It was, I want to say it's this one. Let's see. That's it. That's the sample. So what that is, in case you're curious and you want to know, it's basically me just humming weird notes into the sampler and then just overriding it with just noise, like scratching the top of it and weird shit like that. But this is what happens. Something happens, then you make a melody, and then suddenly you feel like singing words and words come out. And that's what happened today. So that's the answer, I hope. I hope that's satisfactory. But yeah, so I was thinking about so we're gonna start this thing off. So I'm gonna play a song, and I'm gonna tell you why I'm playing that song, and then we'll start taking calls. Okay. Um, it's a different number, so I'll flash a different number on the screen. But yeah, you could send me samples. Constantino says we should send you some samples. Sure, send me stuff. I don't care. Random samples are cool. I don't mind. What I was trying to do, and I was pretty successful, was this. Hold on. Let's go back to the other sample. Listen to this for a second. Sounds like Springs, doesn't it? It's not Springs. It's actually just my voice. But because I can process thing in this little toy, from its own panel, by the way, you can make spring-like sounds. So I was trying to make some spring verbs to use as impulses. Sorry, I'm scratchy. Need to play a song. My voice is scratchy today for some reason. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Claudio. Good to see you. Sits in a corner quietly. That's very funny. So yeah. So I started off with a sampling session, which is pretty good. I got about half an hour's worth of sound. Although I have to ask myself how sane I must be to sit there and make spring noises when my head hurts. I don't know. But anyway, I digress. The other thing that happened was, I don't know if you've been following the story about the Chinese balloon that's like flying over the United States. I wrote a song about such a thing, believe it or not, back in the early 2000s. So I wanted to start this thing with that song. So because I need to explain why. All the tinfoil hat people, of which, of course, I'm probably one of them, but I used to hang out in these really strange corners of the internet that they're no longer there. But in the early 2000s, there was all this talk about Chinese sending balloons to do dry run tests, and that the only way that we could, stop this would be to shoot up our own satellites to counteract them. So I read this back in 2002 maybe. And so how weird is it that I wrote a song about this whole thing? So take a listen. It's from the diary, but I wanted to play this one because I think it's kind of apropos, so to speak. Maybe not. Maybe it isn't. We'll see. So I'm going to turn the UFO cam on because that's the one I want. This is called Communication De-Revolution.
Cycles all around. The Delta 2030 is on the ground. Depression, regression, feels like the dream's been sold. satellite feeds, Warlock and me. Who won the Oscars and why should you care less? Talk about the lost one, blood is spared. I see it, I breathe it, the death and decay. Following the footsteps of atomic cafe. Freedom is imagined, why should you care when they come down for you? A revolution, shoot up a satellite. Communication breakdown now goes on. I am the enemy, I'm not on TV, but I know how they pull the strings. A revolution, shoot up a satellite. Communication breakdown now goes on. A revolution, shoot up a satellite. Communication breakdown now goes on. Communication, the revolution. Communication, the revolution. Communication, the revolution starts today.
Communication derevolution. So, if you're, this is like a weird conversation to have, but I'm going to have it because I feel like the information that's out there is kind of weird. So, I'm going to explain my point of view on this. So, there's a lot of people that are saying, shoot it down, shoot it down. And then there's people that are saying, why haven't we shot it down? What are we waiting for? So, I'm going to refer to a very interesting article that I feel may, I just lost it. I had it. How did I miss this article? Oh, there it is. Sorry, I'm going to pull it up and then we can talk. Boom, 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 boom. So, mind you, any news source that I'm citing doesn't mean that I'm buying into it, but it's an interesting article. And the reason why I'm going to bring this article up is because this is what the tinfoil hat people were talking about in 2000. So I find it interesting that somehow we find ourselves in this quandary now, which should have at least let you have a little bit more respect for those tinfoil hat people, okay? Because sometimes, or most of the time, they're right. So, here it is. This is the article. It's from the Washington Examiner. It says, dry run, balloons called top delivery platform for nuclear EMP attack. So I'm going to explain how this works. Or rather, you can see the article yourself. I'm going to put a link to it on the chat, and you guys can take it later when you're watching this or whatever and decide I'm crazy or whatever you want, but it's worth reading. So I think that they can't shoot it down because they don't know what's in it. Oops, sorry, that wasn't supposed to happen. That wasn't supposed to happen either. Gosh darn it. What just happened? Oh, there it is. All right. But basically, I'm just going to read a little bit. In a 2015 report for the American Leadership and Policy Foundation, and by the way, I had read this report, Air Force Major David Stuckenberg, one of the nation's leading EMP experts, wrote extensively about the threat balloons carrying bombs pose to national security. Using a balloon as a WME platform could provide adversaries with a palette of altitudes and payload options with which to maximize offensive effects against the U.S. A high-altitude balloon could be designed, created, and launched in a matter of months, There is nothing to prevent several hundred pounds of weapon material from being delivered to altitude. So, just so that you know, I'm not trying to scare people because that's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to do is assess the reason or among the reasons why they're not shooting this thing down. I'm not saying that they should. I'm not opposed to them shooting it down, but I think they're being extra cautious, not fully transparent because of course people would go crazy, if they really thought that that could happen. But I think that the minute this thing goes back out into the ocean, I think they should shoot it down because I think they should send a message, hey, do not invade our airspace willy-nilly. That's just me. That's my opinion. But I find it interesting though that, the gamut of like, ha, well, Constantino says they should punch a hole in the balloon and let it slowly fall. You know, they can, but what if it's filled with something else, like a hydrogen gas or something else that is very explosive? And that side of things could be a bit a bit odd. So we can't shoot the equipment that it's carrying because that could have a payload. Um, so my guess is that they're trying to grab all the intel they can off of it without shooting it down. But if you were wondering why they might not shoot it down, this is one of the reasons that I think they would not shoot it down. Um, and it's a subject that was debated quite a bit back in the early 2000s, which was around the time that I wrote that song after, having conversations with people left and right about these things. Because EMPs, like what I mean, I don't know if you guys know what that means, but it means electromagnetic pulse. It basically means that if you detonate a small nuke in the atmosphere, um, there would be no casualties of people, but what it would do is it would completely destroy our power grid. So we would all be out power for who knows how long. So they really need to have some sort of contingency plan in place where it invades the airspace. The minute it gets the airspace, it's, not none of this wait till it's over the US, especially, by the way, when it's over missile bases, because that's right. That's what's in Montana, hidden missile bases, so oh, you guys are talking about Suma sumatriptan. Yes, I know. There's another one that I'm gonna try that I think I've just been lazy. I need to go to the doctor and like get it prescribed already. Maybe I'll do a telemed thing. Yeah, I'll do a telemed thing. See if I can get it. But anyway, yeah, it's a strange thing. Um, so so Leslie on Facebook says, "We love your music. Can't wait to see you in Ciudad de Mexico with Information Society. And can we take a photo with you, please?" Sure. I'll do my best. I have no idea what the security in Mexico is going to be like. So, you know. But anyway, that's just my 2 cents on that. Only because it's something that's it's God knows it's the top story. Everybody's talking about it. I can't help talking about it because I keep going back to the TV to see if they've done anything. So if you've got any updates, please post them in the comments. I'd love to know if there's any updates on this. I haven't checked since 2 o'clock in the afternoon when I was like full blown migraine, and you know, which by the way, there's going to be a migraine edition down on Facebook. Uh-oh. Not sure. Yeah, I do. Rita, I agree with you. It does feel kind of like the Trojan horse vibes. I know. I can't help it. Um, I've studied this kind of thing too long to ignore it. So I can't just ignore it. You can call me a conspiracy theorist, but the reality of it is that is some crazy stuff. So Migraine streams. That's what I'm going to call them. The M streams. Ay, ay, ay. No, let's not give it any more energy. But anyway, I am going to open up the phone line and you can ask me anything. Doesn't have to be on this particular topic. I have happier topics to talk about, by the way. But I opened the show with this one because it's a developing story. Let's face it, it's all over the news. Let's at least discuss it like rational people and tinfoil hat people like me. But anyway, you can call me. Here's the